If God handed you a spiritual balance sheet today, would you be in the black or in the red? Would your faith account show deposits or withdrawals? Would your time ledger show investment or waste? Would your relationship equity be growing or depreciating? Mike Piper's book, Accounting Made Simple, explains how every healthy business tracks assets, liabilities, and cash flow. And I want to go through that book to help you if you're a business owner. But also today, I want to show you that you, as a Christian leader, a pastor, a teacher, entrepreneur, parent, can use the same principles to get your spiritual and emotional finances in order. Because if you don't understand your numbers, you really can't make wise decisions. The same is true in your walk with God. If you don't understand what's flowing in and out of your life, you'll often live in confusion, exhaustion, and scarcity. So why does God care about your accounting, both in your business and in your life? Well, the word accounting actually comes from the same root as the word accountability, and accountability is woven all throughout Scripture. Romans 14:12 says, "So then each of us will give an account of ourselves to God." That means one day you and I will sit across from the ultimate auditor, the God of the universe. And he won't just ask how much we made, he'll ask us how we managed. That's why Jesus taught so many parables about stewardship, not because he loved spreadsheets, but because he loves clarity. He knows that when you stop hiding from your numbers, whether financial, spiritual, emotional, you finally start walking in truth. John 8:32 says, "You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free." Freedom requires clarity, and that's what accounting really is. It's truth with numbers attached. So let's start with this idea of assets versus liabilities. What's really helping you to grow? In his book, Mike Piper explains the first key to accounting is understanding assets and liabilities. Assets are what you own, things that bring you value. Liabilities are what you owe, things that drain your resources. They're the negatives versus the positives. Let's bring that into your world. If we think in spiritual terms, it's not quite the same as a spreadsheet, but if you think about spiritual assets, what are the things that you own or that really benefit your spiritual life? It's things like prayer, scripture, rest, wisdom, meditation, healthy relationships, margin, gratitude, and you could list a lot of others. What are some of your spiritual liabilities? Bitterness, busyness, being overly busy, comparison, fear, unforgiveness, pride, lack of rest, getting burnt out. These are liabilities. So some of you, for instance, have over leveraged emotionally, not just financially. You've borrowed too much stress and you've spent too much peace. You're carrying debt that God never told you to take on. Hebrews 12:1 says, "Let us throw off everything that hinders us and the sin that so easily entangles us." That's not just a moral warning, it's certainly that, but it's kind of like balance sheet wisdom. You can't move fast when your liabilities outweigh your assets. Here's a practical challenge. Take 10 or 15 minutes this week to list your spiritual assets and your spiritual liabilities, and then ask, what do I need to invest more in? What do I need to pay off? What do I need to get rid of these liabilities? And what assets can I spend more time focusing on? Now I want to talk about cash versus accrual accounting. One of the simplest yet most powerful lessons in Accounting Made Simple is the difference between cash accounting and accrual accounting. Cash accounting records income when money comes in. Accrual accounting records it when it's earned, even if it hasn't arrived yet. Let me show you how that connects to your faith. If you live by cash accounting, you only feel blessed when you see results. But if you live by accrual faith, you record God's promises before they even show up. Like Hebrews 11 says, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Abraham didn't have the land yet, but he recorded the promise. Joseph didn't have the promotion yet, but he recorded the dream. Mary didn't see the miracle yet, but she said, "Be it unto me according to your word." That's accrual faith. Don't wait for the breakthrough to show up before you give God glory. Record it in your spiritual books right now, because if God said it's going to happen, it's as good as done. Let's talk about the income statement. An income statement measures real profit, not just revenue. And Mike Piper in his book teaches the basics of the income statement: revenue, expenses, profit. Let's apply that to your leadership. Your revenue is everything that comes into your life: your blessings, your opportunities, your relationships, your encouragement. Your expenses are what you give: your time, your energy, your resources, your compassion. Your profit, well, that's what remains. How much peace, how much joy, how much fruitfulness is left over. In John 15:8, Jesus says, "This is how my Father is glorified, that you bear much fruit." But here's the thing: fruit isn't profit until it's lasting. Galatians 6:9 says, "Let's not grow weary in doing good, for in the proper time we will reap a harvest if we don't give up." Some of you have incredible spiritual revenue. You're constantly giving, serving, pouring out, but no profit because your expenses exceed your deposits. You're running a deficit of rest. You're overdrawn on your joy. Now, Accounting Made Simple explains something called double entry bookkeeping. Every transaction affects two different accounts. That's also true in God's economy. Every time you give, you receive. Every time you sow, you reap. Every time you forgive, you experience freedom. Every time you serve, you're strengthened. Galatians 6:7 says, "Be not deceived. deceived. God's not mocked. A man reaps what he sows. In God's system, there are no one-sided entries. Everything you do echoes. When you speak life, heaven records it. When you give generously, eternity multiplies it. When you love sacrificially, your heavenly account grows interest. Jesus said in Matthew 6, verse 20 in the Sermon on the Mount, store up for yourselves treasures in heaven. That's divine bookkeeping. Every act of obedience is a transaction with eternal ROI, return on investment, right? Now, Mike Piper in his book also talks about ratios, ways to measure the health of a business, like the quick ratio or the current ratio. I want to give you a spiritual version of that. The current ratio could be how well are you meeting today's challenges? The quick ratio, how quickly can you respond when crisis hits? If a crisis hits tomorrow, whether it's financial, relational, spiritual, do you have reserves of faith to cover it? Proverbs 21:20 says, the wise store up choice food and olive oil, but fools gulp theirs down. That's not about groceries. That's about preparation. Wise leaders don't just spend everything they have, emotionally or financially. They keep margin. If your spiritual liquidity is low, you'll panic when the pressure comes. Jesus told the parable of the 10 virgins, 5 wise, 5 foolish. The wise kept oil in reserve, the foolish didn't. When the bridegroom came, the unprepared missed their moment. So here's the question. Do you have oil in your lamp? Do you have reserves of peace, prayer, community when the storm hits? Have you saved up financially, or are you wasting it all? Now, here's the point. God keeps a lot better books than you do, right? You might be watching this thinking, okay, I've messed up my spiritual books. I'm in debt. I've made really bad investments. Here's the good news. God is the ultimate accountant, and his grace reconciles every deficit. Colossians 2:14 says, he canceled the record of debt that stood against us with its legal demands. He took it away, nailing it to the cross. That's divine accounting if you're a believer. Every sin, every mistake, every regret, paid in full. When Jesus says it's finished, the Greek word tetelestai, literally means paid in full. That's your ledger now. Clean, balanced, free. But here's your part. You have to start keeping your new books correctly. Don't live like your account is still negative. Stop recording guilt that's already been forgiven. Walk in the truth of the new balance sheet, where grace exceeds debt and where mercy covers your margin. Mike Piper ends his book reminding readers that accounting is about making informed decisions. That's also what God expects from you. Matthew 25:19 says, after a long time, the master of those servants returned and settled accounts with them. That day is coming for pastors, for entrepreneurs, for parents, for everyone. When it comes, God won't be impressed by your busyness or the size of your personal brand. He'll look at your books. Did you steward well what he gave you? Did you multiply it or waste it? Did you love people more than profit? Did you use your time for eternal investments? Because the goal isn't just a balanced ledger, it's a fruitful life. And one day, if you've stewarded well, you'll hear the most beautiful accounting phrase ever spoken in Matthew 25:21. Well done, good and faithful servant. Those are incredible words, right? Let me give you a challenge for this week. Number 1, write your spiritual balance sheet, list your assets and your liabilities, ask God which ones to grow and which ones to get rid of. Number 2, review your faith flow statement instead of cash flow. What's coming in and what's going out. Number 3, thank God his grace always balances the book. Because accounting doesn't have to be complicated, not for your business and not for life. Because the God who runs the universe is also the one reconciling your soul. That's the beauty of stewardship made simple. So whether you need to read that book, it's a helpful book to help you kind of get your accounting in order, or whether you need to focus on the accounting of your life, I hope that this video was helpful. If so, maybe give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing to the channel, share it with someone else. Thanks so much for your time, and I hope that you have a wonderful day walking with Jesus.